like, I am not going to be your girlfriend forever.
Right.
So, whatever that means. So, come on with it. Like, just,
right.
We first met in middle school. We actually talked on the phone one time. I called you, and you were acting like you were so busy.
I was watching wrestling at that time. You can't call on Monday nights.
I honestly just kind of like to pick on you because you were so quiet, and
Oh yeah, this was like junior year. By that time, I was fully invested into football, and you were twirling.
We had a class together, and that's when I was like, he's quiet. Let me bother him.
Right, I remember those days, yeah. Do you remember our first date? I borrowed my mom's car, and I took you to Chili. I remember picking you up, and you wasn't quite ready yet. Your dad opened the door, and I vividly remember him asking me where I was taking you. He asked for my driver's license. He asked for my insurance card.
Good, he's supposed to.
He asked for like a hair sample,
he did
a urine sample. He asked for like everything. And then I'm looking at your mom, and she's looking at me like, hand it over. I'm like, dang. So I knew then that you coming from a good household.
After that, we just kind of stayed hanging out, and we almost didn't make it to the same school in college.
Right.
Like, I had like a potential, scholarship somewhere else. You kind of told me like that you wanted us to go to school together and like stay together, and I was like, okay.
At that time, I was just young. I wasn't afraid, but I didn't like change. I felt like what we had going was pretty cool, and I knew like me going to school 6 hours west of Texas, not knowing anybody. For any 18-year-old, it just felt weird at the time.
We both moved back to Houston, and it was like a really nice kind of time period in our lives. Like,
I had so much time on my hands back then.
Yeah.
Just living the responsibilities.
We got back from college, got our first jobs, and then I finally was like, I think I'm ready to move out on my own. And you didn't believe me for the longest time.
Yeah,
You were
I thought it was the biggest prank ever.
Whatever. So I finally moved out, and I went to Costa Rica with Christine for 2 weeks. Like, that was probably like the longest we've been apart. And then, of course, when I came back, I got pregnant with Grant.
Right. And I was like, oh, shit. It's really real now.
I remember taking a pregnancy test, and like the just way we looked at each other, it was so emotional.
I was sitting there right on the tub. And
it makes me want to cry just thinking about it.
I was like, are you sure?
We were both looking at each other just like,
it's real.
We wanted to get married first. Like, oh my gosh, we have a baby on the way. Like, it wasn't the happiest moment.
No, it probably wasn't. It definitely accelerated things.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
We decided to get married before Grant was born, which was, I think, a great idea because they take over everything. Yep. And I wouldn't have been able to plan a wedding or anything like that.
It just made me like grow up like this quick.
When did you notice that I was messy?
Well, I noticed that when you first invited me over to your house back. This is like senior year of high school. She got clothes right here. It's a closet right there though. Why aren't the clothes in the closet? And I was like, okay, this is different from how I do it. But,
Whoa.
She's still cool. I still like her.
She's dirty, but she's cool.
Dirty is a strong word.
Dirty is a strong word. I feel like the high points are like when we just really get to relax into like our family life.
I think those are good. I think a low would be, sometimes when we get too busy with your business and then, when I'm training or whatever, we don't really get that time to connect. And so we lose that, that
connection.
Right, the connection, the physical touch or whatever. We just go about our day to day and just like, next thing you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks go by and like, man, like, haven't seen you this much or whatever. We haven't talked this much. We haven't connected. We haven't checked in. Learning. We're still learning. You never stop learning. You can never get too comfortable. When Sloan was born, Grant was already, 7 years old. So we've done so much with him. I thought for a long time, we maybe just be one and done. 2019, man, I remember we got pregnant with Sloan, and then I'm like, man, what the hell? What's going on?
It didn't help too that was like a really rough time in our relationship.
Right.
Having such an independent child already in Grant, and then going back to having a newborn was extremely rough.
Absolutely, like we're
the level of exhaustion was one that I had not felt in a very long time. I was used to getting a full 8 hours.
It was a vast difference between being in your 20s having a kid and then now you're in your 30s.
27 and like 30 whatever I was.
34, 30. Like, man,
that felt different.
It's a game. It's a whole different game.
I think we got back to better places we are married. Like, we are on the same team. We have to treat each other like teammates and arguing about like things that don't matter. Is that how you win, or is that how you like lose as a team? The more we communicate it and realize like what winning feels like for us, it's like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like to win together. This is what it feels like to truly work together and have each other's back and think about the other person.
You know,
because we just got together so young.
You get comfortable. And, you know, people don't realize being in a relationship is a constant effort. It's a constant fight, to, you know, to make that ship go. So, like, just having, like, that midweek or, like, the end of the week check-in, I think has been, like, very beneficial for us.
We literally lay in bed and literally, like, just look at each other and like, so, talk. How's it going? Right. What's going on at work? What's going on with this? What's going on with that?
How does it feel to be in love with a black man?
To love a black man is to experience a level of understanding that can't be found anywhere else. It's comfort. It's like home. It's just like all the good things in life wrapped up into one package.
Being in love with a black woman is like, it's amazing to know that you can continue to build your legacy with someone who comes from the same root as you. A teammate, a soulmate, a partner.
Here we go.
Everything and above, you know, because we got our backs.